How you doing? So, like always, I'm back from a bike ride, and today I want to talk about cultivating joy through interest and affection. So, first of all, let's talk about what joy is. So, joy is a mental pleasure. When something feels good to the body, you might describe that as pleasure or something like that. Sukha, I think, is the term you hear in Buddhism. But joy is a pleasure that's mental. It happens in the mind. Otherwise, it's quite similar to pleasure, but it's not really in the body, it's more in the mind. And that's a helpful distinction for various reasons that I can get into later. Um, but of course, the body and the mind, it's not like body mind, it's body mind, right? Anyway, joy is pleasure of the mind. And one thing that's interesting about joy is that you can create joy. You can give yourself joy by doing something that you enjoy. You can enjoy yourself, right? Like if you enjoy, you enjoy something. You're ingoy, you're in joy. So you can enjoy yourself. So, for instance, the basic thing is about interest and joy and how they interrelate with each other. Well, first, before I say that, let me say quickly that what interest is. Interest is a type of care, and I consider care or caring to be basically the fundamental human quality, or the fundamental positive human quality. But really, just it's what humans do. We care. We care for each other. We care for animals, for the environment. We care how we feel. We care about ourselves. We care about concepts. And we care about objects. And caring is a really, really beautiful thing. So interest is a type of care, and it's a type of caring that is intensely engaged. So when you are focused on something, or you're attending to it, your mental attention is pointed at a specific thing in a spirit of care, you could call that interest. And we all have been interested in things, right? Now, when you engage with something in interest, it actually brings you joy. It's that simple. So let's go through some examples that everyone's experienced. So, for instance, let's say you have a book on a topic that you're interested in, and you open the book. You're basically attending to it. You are going to enjoy the experience. It's going to bring you joy, and we often don't notice this. That it's actually the fact that we're interested that makes us joyful, or that brings us joy. And you can use that to your advantage in a lot of different ways. Something that you don't enjoy currently, like let's say, I have often used this example, I guess, but say like driving, for instance. Most people don't enjoy driving, but if you bring a great deal of interest into driving, like maybe you're very attentive to the spatial relationship of your car to the lane you're in, or to applying your brake only when it's necessary or good to do so. Like, for instance, a lot of people, I don't know if you've driven with some people who like drive, like they like speed up really heavily and then they use the brake, and you're just like kind of thrown around in the car. You can actually not do that, and it's better for your car if you just apply the brake when you have to, and not harshly, but only slightly, right? Or the same way with the accelerating. Some people accelerate crazily. It's not necessary at all. Anyways, so that would be an example of a way that you can bring interest into an activity that you might not find interesting at all. And if you do that, you'll actually find that there is a corresponding amount of joy. The more interest you can bring to an activity, the more you'll enjoy it. And the activities that we don't enjoy are ones that we're completely uninterested in. It's so simple, but when you take any activity that you're not interested in, like taking the trash out or something, like you can't enjoy something you're not interested in. And there's people who actually enjoy cleaning, right? Like cleaning their house and whatnot. And the secret to that is to be very interested in making things clean, to really enjoy they're almost synonymous. It's really amazing. And so it's a real secret that you can bring interest to any activity in life, and that will give you joy. In a lot of ways, we see it in the negative. We lose interest with things, and things that used to bring us joy no longer do. So this often happens like in relationships, for instance, like a romantic relationship. When you first meet someone that you're interested, that appeals to your eyes, usually that creates interest. And you're often in, let's say you just start dating someone, or you just start to get to know someone that you're romantically interested in. You're often extremely interested in what they're thinking and how they feel and why they do the things that they do. And this interest makes it really enjoyable just to think about the person. And this is actually kind of independent from all of the body's like sexual urges and those kinds of things. Like this, if you could just only, you can, but if you could somehow separate the interest and joy aspect from the sexuality and everything, you would still get a lot of joy about just thinking about the person and wondering, I wonder if they're thinking about me. I wonder why they do that. Why do they walk in that way? You know, these things that we do to ourselves, right? But that brings us a lot of joy. Now, when we've been in a relationship with someone for a long time, of course, the sort of the body's like drug levels, drugs, right? The body's hormones and stuff drop off after you've known someone for like intimately for like 6 months, a year, etc. But also, so that is something to manage. But also, we lose interest in people because in the romantic context, we think that we understand them now. We think we know why they do what they do. We think we know what they think. We think we know what they're feeling, and we probably don't. And the relationship ceases to bring us the joy that it used to. Now, if we can, and you see this in really strong relationships, like the interest is still there. And a lot of times people call that communication, but there will be no communication without interest. And so understanding that interest brings you joy is can be a relationship saver, a life saver. It can really bring a lot of balance to your life. Like if you work a job that you don't enjoy, you can bring interest to it. And it's not easy, of course. It's simple, but it's not easy, like always. Now, the last thing I want to say about interest and joy is to relate it to meditation. And it actually gets into this concept of affection. So affection is an even deeper level of interest. You could see it with like pets, for instance. With a pet, a lot of people are not necessarily interested why their dog does what it does, but they have affection for it. So affection is an even deeper level where instead of being concerned about the specific reasoning for why someone's doing something, sort of mental aspect of it, you're more interested in their joy and in their them being benefited and that kind of thing. So in meditation, you have to develop, well, you don't have to, but in meditation, it's very similar to like a pet, like I was describing. So I mean, think about like people who have like a beloved dog or something. They're interested in what their dog is experiencing, not because they want to figure it out or something, but because they want that pet, that dog, to have a good experience, because there's that reciprocal joy that's created through a really deep interest. Really deep interest is, I guess, I would say, is affection. And you can kind of see the example with the pet, right? Now, with meditation, you also need to leverage affection. And it's a bit tricky, but it's really powerful when you do it. So, for instance, what I'm talking about is developing affection for the object of meditation. So the most common object of meditation that's taught pretty much is the breath. And it's my favorite basically as well. But in meditation, first, you might be interested about meditation and you pick a topic. Let's say you choose the breath. And as you meditate on the breath, it's a very uninteresting topic. The breath is pretty much the same. One in breath, one out breath is pretty much exactly the same as every other in breath and out breath. But the more interest you can bring to it, and as thinking subsides and your interest becomes wrapped, your attention becomes wrapped, and you become focused on just the breath, as that happens, then all the benefits of meditation start happening. And it's such a the breath is such a interesting, it's such a non-stimulating topic, which is actually why it's such a good topic for meditation. We could go into that later, I suppose. But this video is already getting somewhat long, so I'll finish up quickly. But the breath is so non-stimulating that if you're going to stick with it for a long period of time, like for a long meditation, or if that's going to be your topic of meditation for a long period of your life, for many years, then you have to develop a deep interest in it and a affection for it. I'll leave it at there because I'll say one more thing. You can get to affection by thinking about things sometimes. And since the breath sustains you every day, since you take thousands of breaths every day, you should be pretty affectionate towards it, right? Without breath. I mean, just hold your breath and see how much you miss it, right? But, so sometimes you can think about things and that can get you to some affection. But it's necessary if you want to have a serious practice on the breath. You need to have an affection for it. And man, will it bring you a lot of joy. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. I hope you guys are doing great, and I'll see you on the next one.